What's up, everybody? Kevin here. Got a little music going in the background here. Let me know if it gets on your nerves or whatever. But hey, so as you know, let's see. Hey, Elliot, already here. Alabama. I've lived there for 14 years total. Right across the river from Columbus. Elliot, I didn't know you were from Alabama. Dude, I am finding out so much stuff about Alabama, people from Alabama, and stuff like that. And I was raised there. So anyway, hey, so guys, last week I had a pre-recorded tutorial video up, and I hope you liked it. But this week I decided to go live again just because I like hanging out with you guys. I learn a lot from you guys, and I want to share my story with you a little bit, okay? So last week, I was on the road on Tuesday. Got up early Tuesday morning, and I got up early Tuesday morning and was going to drive down to Birmingham to see a guy named Joe Bonamassa, who's a great blues guitarist. He had a couple of Nashville musicians there in town and everything, or Nashville musicians in his band. Great. It was a great thing. But my brother put together a meeting with my cousin. My cousin's name is Scott Ward, and I have had short conversations with Scott here and there, and I knew that he worked in music, and I knew he was a bass player and all that kind of stuff. But I got the chance to hang out with Scott, my cousin, and so I took a little side trip down to Muscle Shoals. Now, again, I'm from Alabama, and I should know about Muscle Shoals. And I did. It was always kind of in the back of my mind of like, there's some good music that comes out of Muscle Shoals, but I had no idea how much good music came out of Muscle Shoals. So anyway, I get to Muscle Shoals, and my cousin Scott, who I'm definitely going to interview in the next few weeks, along with maybe some other people in Muscle Shoals, because I had to tear myself away from there. Scott was working at this place called Wishbone, and Billy Lawson bought the place a few years ago, and he's doing some killer stuff. I'd love to talk to Billy too, but Billy's a great songwriter. Anyway, so my cousin Scott took me around, and he kind of showed me around Muscle Shoals. Now, on the way, I have to say, I did a little bit of research. I had downloaded a documentary several years ago called Muscle Shoals. And it's free on YouTube right now, by the way. You should grab it. You should go watch it. It's a documentary on Muscle Shoals. And it came out in, I think, 2013. And I thought, oh, that'd be interesting to watch. And I never did. Then I moved to California. And then seems like I watched every documentary but the Muscle Shoals one. I watched, the documentary Sound City. I saw The Wrecking Crew. And then just recently, as you know, I saw the Beatles documentary, and it was really cool too. But anyway, he took me by Fame Studios, and Fame is kind of was the iconic studio in my mind, and I thought there's a couple of little other odds and ends there, and there's several studios there. But he took me to a place this is the part that I feel a little embarrassed that I didn't know about. There's another studio besides Fame, and it was called Muscle Shoals Sound, and it was at 3614 Jackson Highway, and I'm assuming that's the address. But so these players, and they call them the Swampers, I guess because Alabama swamp. I always think of the swamp as being lower Alabama, but where there's a lot of water and stuff. But this is in northern Alabama, and there was these 4 or 5 players who were there playing. Let's see, Roger Hawkins was a drummer, and killer drummer. And I started listening to some of their tracks on the way down there and on the way back. David Hood's a bass player, and he's still around. I'd love to talk to David. Barry Beckett was a famous Nashville producer, and he passed away he passed away a while ago. Jimmy Johnson was a guitar player. Jerry Wexler was a record executive that kind of put them kind of in the limelight. But anyway, so this documentary comes out, and Dr. Dre actually saw the documentary, and he formed this organization with Jimmy Iovine, and they decided to start funding these studios to bring them back to their former glory. So Dr. Dre was to thank for me being able to go to the studio. Not personally. I don't know Dr. Dre. But anyway, me and Scott went on this tour of the studio, and it was really, really, really cool. I mean, some of my favorite tracks that I think are the funkiest track were done by these Alabama boys. One of them is, and by the way, guys, if you are familiar with the Muscle Shoals sound and you've got some iconic songs that you want to mention, I would love to go and research them. But let's see, what are some of the? I'm going to pull up. Spotify real quick. And I'm not going to play anything because I'll get booted off. But if you just go Muscle Shoals, and then you look at the playlist, Aretha Franklin, Respect. That was one of the first ones that they did. Well, actually, there's a story behind that. Aretha Franklin and her husband and Jimmy and Wexler came, and I think there was some kind of a fist fight between the engineer and Aretha Franklin's husband. And anyway, they said they would not be back. And this was when they were at, I guess Fame Studios then. Anyway, so these 4 or 5 musicians split off and they started their own studio, which was called 3614, or it was called Muscle Shoals Sound, I get. And it was at 3614 Jackson Highway. The first client there was Cher. And she had exactly 0 hits off of that record. And they were kind of sweating it out a little bit. I guess I would be too, kind of break away from a living, people that were hiring you all the time, and you split off and you go into competition against them. I guess that's pretty scary. But anyway, Respect was done in New York actually, but with these same players. But when they came back, they did a ton of stuff. Paul Simon, Kodachrome, Leonard Skinner recorded there. Rolling Stones even came right when it first opened. The Rolling Stones did 6 o'clock sessions overnight for a few nights, and they did Brown Sugar and several of them. I don't have a big repertoire for the Rolling Stones so much, but anyway, there's a ton of them. So back when I was a kid, there was a song that I gravitated to. It was called Patches, and I don't know why I loved that song. My daddy was a great old man. I could see him with a shovel in his hand. See, I could sing the whole song, but I'm not. Anyway, I don't know, there's something about that song. I knew every word of it, even the background vocal parts and the harmonica part, which is probably a reason I learned to play harmonica too. But anyway, Patches, done right there in Muscle Shoals. So many good songs. Oh, staple singers. That dong, 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 dong. I'll take you there. That was done right there in that room. And if you listen, I didn't know this, but if you listen, Mavis Staples, she does, it's basically the whole song is I'll take you there, no more crying, no lying, to the races. And that's pretty much the gist of the song. And then it's a bunch of solos. And then Barry Beckett was the one playing the Wurlitzer. It was a Wurlitzer 200, model 200. I think it's a 200. Anyway, that he did, so iconic. If you listen, Mavis Staples is going something about Barry, played that keyboard. And I always thought that was so cool. I didn't hear it until the tour guide told me about it. And then, that iconic bass line, don't, da 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 do 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 do. That's that's David Hood. And if you listen, right as he's starting that solo, she says, David. Anyway, she names all the guys, but these guys were so amazing. And it's amazing to me that I didn't know all these guys. I'd heard, he came from Muscle Shoals. I've worked for some players here that came from Muscle Shoals. But when I started listening to how much funky music came out of that little hole in the wall, let me show you some pictures of it. Let me see if I can show you my screen without me showing too much here. I'm going to read the comments first real quick. Oh, Elliot. Yeah, I'm from Detroit, but chose to live in Alabama. pretty girls down there. Yeah, I got one of them for sure. And you said, and this is one thing I meant to bring up too. In Muscle Shoals, they have the Swampers. That's in Sweet Home, Alabama. And I had never, I didn't even know that was the name of the band that they called the band there. But anyway, that was really cool. Um, yeah, let's see. Laz Dowse is Boss Gag. Someone loaned me a dime. Dwayne Allman is incredible. Yeah, he was kind of a swamper there for a little while. He was the one responsible for Wilson Pickett doing a Beatles cover of some kind, according to the documentary. He says it's not a great mix. It was live to 2-track, and the engineer didn't realize that he hadn't finished the solo. I'll have to go back and listen to that. Someone loaned me a dime. I'll go back and check that. Adam Angel Knight, that's the dude. I know you're talking about one of the Swampers and not me, right? Thank you, Adam. I'm looking forward to working with you tomorrow, buddy. Randy, do these studios have public tours? Absolutely. The one on Jackson Highway has one pretty much every hour on the half hour. So I think we took our tour at like 10:30 or 11:30, but they have them all day. And it's still a working studio. Here's another little trivia part of this too. The studio has an old API console. I think it used to have a universal audio, one of those 610s. I think it used to have one of those. And then I think it had an old MCI. But now it's got Chet Atkins' old API 500 series. So that's another iconic console in itself. But it's there too. And they do sessions there, and I'm going, I wonder if my mix coach guys would like to go to Muscle Shoals and do a session. So I actually did some inquiry about it. So let's see, what was I going to show you guys? Oh Lord, my phone is ringing, and I don't even know where it is right now. So I'm just going to talk louder so you don't hear my phone. Let's see. Let me see if I can find real quick. Adam, I wonder if that's you calling me. No, I'm just kidding. Let's see. You know what? I'll find some pictures in a minute. But yes, Randy, they do have tours, and Fame Studios, I think they only have, and that's kind of almost, I don't know if it's the original. The original moved from one place to Fame, I think, and that's where it is now. I think they have tours twice a day. I think one is at 11 o'clock, and one is later in the afternoon, I think. But don't quote me on that. Definitely call and find out. But man, I had a blast. And at the very end, and I'm gonna this is kind of interesting too. So after we left that, we went to grab lunch, and then we went back to Wishbone, and I got to meet Billy Lawson. Billy Lawson's a great songwriter, and he's had a ton of big country hits. Well, he has a studio. He's from Muscle Shoals, but he settled back. He went to Nashville, had a bunch of songs, and he came back to Muscle Shoals, bought an old studio, and anyway, he's got story after story. It was hard to break away from him because I wanted to just keep hearing stories and keep talking to him. So Billy, I'd like to talk to you sometime if you're watching this at some point. So I was telling Billy, we were exchanging tips because Billy is kind of a one-man. He is like a solo Muscle Shoals sound. If you ever get to mix a track from Billy, it's really cool. Anyway, we were exchanging tips. So I exchanged my tip that I have given you guys before. This one, the Instant Awesome preset on SSL, and I was telling him, hey, do you have the SSL plugin? He's like, yeah. I said, if you want your vocals to be like up in your face and you want to try this trick. Take the SSL channel strip, I think I said the E channel, and turn the threshold all the way up and turn the ratio up until you get 2 lights to come on your vocals. And then I told him, how to do that thing. And then he gave me a couple of plugins that I'm probably going to review here a little bit later. But anyway, he called me the next day and he said, dude, I tried your SSL trick. It was great. So anyway, if you want that, the instructions on how to do that, themixcoach.com/instant-awesome. And the reason I'm saying this right now is not to plug something now. I'm plugging something I'm doing in a couple of weeks that I'm so excited. One of the reasons that I'm changing kind of how things look here temporarily is I'm actually going to be doing a live training coming up. And I don't have the link just yet, but there's no reason you shouldn't come because it's going to be free. It's going to be mixing in real time, and the only thing I'm going to be using is this not the Instant Awesome, but the SSL channel strip. That's the only channel strip plugin I'm going to use. Now I may use a reverb here and there, but as far as a channel strip, it's 100% going to be the SSL e-channel from Waves. $29, $35 plugin. I'm going to mix a whole song. And I'd like for you to come and hang out with me, okay? So I'm buying some new equipment so that it'll look good and sound good, like in stereo. So going to be free. I have the date locked in, but I'm afraid to tell you right now. It's in a couple of weeks. So come and hang out with me. But if you're not on the mailing list and you want to know about it, just go to the mixcoach.com/instant-awesome, and you can have this preset plug-in, and I guarantee you, everything you put through it's going to sound better. I don't know how it does it, but it does, and it's a little trick I learned a long time ago, and I've been using it every time I open up the SSL now. It just pops up with that preset, and it just sounds better. So check it out. If you want to come to a live mix training, make sure that you're on the mailing list, my mailing list, and go to this mixcoach.com/instant-awesome. If you're not on the list, you'll get some freebies, and I'll be letting you know when I do this again. So I'm gonna leave that up there. Let me see. I made a bunch of notes of stuff I wanted to say. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, what was funny? I'll leave with this story unless you guys have some comments. Paul Simon comes in to this little. You know what? I'm gonna find this place. Hang on a second. Muscle Shoals. I'm going to share my screen with you here, my Google screen. All right, so let me share this. And then it's up, so you saw it. Okay, so this is the rickety old building right here on the right here, Muscle Shoals Sound Studio. Check it out. And let's see, Cher was, if you look at her album cover from when she did the record there, let's see, Muscle Shoals, and I'll do Cher. Here it is. That's her record cover, her first solo record. That's Jimmy Wexler right there, and that's in front of the studio. And they put this here. There was not even a sign on it. As a matter of fact, I think they took the 3614 Jackson Highway and replicated that on the building because there was not even a sign there yet. So anyway, let's see. Yeah, just so many cool things there. This little lone building. Now I've got this affinity, just real quick before we leave. I've got this affinity for bands that create a sound that just lasts forever. Because I feel like I used to work at one when I worked at Crossroads up in Asheville, North Carolina. There was a great group of musicians there. Tony Creasman played drums, David Johnson, Jeff Collins. I mean, there was a handful. There was no more than like 8 or 9 people and it was the same 4 or 5 people every week, and they had a sound that was just amazing. And now when I listen back to that, I can kind of tell, and I associate that to like these 4 players or 4 or 5 players that played at Muscle Shoals, and then the guys that played like the Wrecking Crew. It was the same 4 or 5 people, and then you had the guys up at Motown, and I don't know their names or anything like that, but you know what? I'm not even sharing my screen, am I? Yeah, I am. Okay. Anyway, I've always wanted to, like, my one of the things I'd love to do is to have a studio like that one day that had an iconic sound and a bunch of musicians. But anyway, this is kind of fanned the fire a little bit for me. I'm going to find out more about Muscle Shoals. I'm going to visit there again really soon. But anyway, hey, I think I'm going to wrap this up because I've done a lot of reminiscing about my trip there, and I wanted you guys to know about it. I was excited about it. So anyway, one last thing, Instant Awesome. If you want to get that preset, be looking in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to do a free training, and I want you to come. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to end it there, and I'll see you guys.